Hi, everybody. It's me, Carol, from Healthcare Potholes with Christian Faith. I'm going to come before you and talk about discouragement. I know it's been a while since I've been online, and I'm looking to get back into things. I've taken some time off to do a few things in my life and to try to get myself better. and it really hasn't worked very well. But we're trying. We're trying. I'm going to position this a little bit better because I have some artifact that's affecting me from my lights up there. There we go. So, anyhow, discouragement is mentioned in the Bible quite often. And one of the things you have to do when you're discouraged is turn everything over to Jesus and God. Very important lesson. People say, well, what if you're sad? You still turn it over to Jesus and God. What if you're having a bad day? You turn it over to Jesus and God. What if, and the list goes on and on. Okay, I'm going to share some discouraging things that happened while I was off. And in the last couple days, I've been having a yank at my gut, which usually is a sign that Jesus and God want me to do something. And I think this is what they want me to talk about as discouraging thoughts, discouraging, just walking through a bunch of discouraging things that happen to people. Right now, our country is in an upheaval. We have people that are having to deal with food issues that are just so expensive they can't cover their food bill. And if you don't cover your food bill or you don't have food to eat, you die. It's simple as that. Might take you a while. I know in the Bible they talk about a 30-day fast, so I doubt that everybody is doing a 30-day fast. I'm certainly not doing a 30-day fast. Maybe I should, but I'm not. So my health won't allow it. The other thing is gas prices are just so out of hand. Um, and, there was a time there when Trump was in office, I could go and fill up my car and I'd be fine for a week of gas going back and forth to the hospital, to doctors, and wherever else I needed. Now, all I can do is $10 here, $10 there, and I'm on fumes half the time, and that scares the crap out of me. Because of being disabled, my walker still isn't fixed, so that's discouraging. Um, so those are two of the biggies that I think are hitting a lot of people right now are the food bill and the gasoline bill. And then there's their mortgage. A lot of people can't pay their mortgages and they're becoming homeless. There's more people living in cars, vans, small homes if they can find them, sheds if they can fix them up to be winterized in the winter. Um, there's just so much going on that it's just I can't ever remember our country being like this. Now I didn't live through the Depression, but my parents did, and my mom was notorious for getting casserole recipes. And that's kept us afloat because you can use a casserole and make a casserole and get a few days out of it. Now, if you have a big family, it might take a little while. There's sheet pans. A lot of people do sheet pans with vegetables. Unfortunately, my brother isn't one to eat vegetables like broccoli, asparagus, peppers, onions, that type of thing, that you would find quite often on a sheet pan with maybe some chicken or, that type of thing. So, or ground meat shredded or shredded pork or any of that stuff. So, but that would give you a few meals there. So, I think we as Americans have to get kind of creative in our food budget because of it. And so that's something that I just wanted to bring out and let you know that I'm like everybody else. I'm struggling. I had $2 to my name, and I kept turning my finances over to God. I kept saying, "Hey, God, Jesus, I only have $2 here. I'm not going to make it. There's no way. I got to have money to get to and from my appointments. What am I going to do?" And they're life-saving treatments, and I really need them. And so I happened to look down at my bank, and they had a thing that said 250 same as cash. And I thought, ooh, that sounds interesting. So I investigated it and found out it was an easy peasy thing to do. And I took out 150 out of the 250 that I could qualify for. So now I have to pay $50 back for 3 months, which is durable. And they take it out automatically. And so I'm looking forward to that. So it not only restores some of my credit ability, but it also lets them know that I'm good to maybe get a higher amount next time. I don't know that I would take necessarily a higher amount because I had prayed to God that I just needed some gas money, medication money to pay for my meds. I had like 6 meds sitting here, and that I also needed to have some groceries, that I was running out of things that I desperately needed. And so that 150 bridged that until my brother gets paid. I have $11 now, but that's better than two. And so that's where we're at. So anyhow, um, I've been hacked a lot. That's discouraging. They've hacked my email. They've hacked my friends list on Facebook. My Facebook was the first to be hacked. Then they hacked all sorts of things. So my phone is a one hack job, basically. My brother put a virus scan on that's running in the background, which I think has helped a lot. But tonight again, I had a message from my bank that someone tried to get into my account and use my account fraudulently. They did my credit card fraudulently last week, and I caught them at that. Nothing went through on any of the transactions because I have it blocked, and they know at my bank what I use my cards for, and even at my credit card company. So they watch things and they know. So that's a good thing. When they see an unusual charge, they know not to put it through per my instructions. So I weathered those two storms, thank God. So that was discouraging. And then I had to put my dog Coffee down, and he was almost 11, and he had been very had been running a fever, stroking out, hitting his head on the wall, running into walls, laying in his water, to where he was snarling up, and I couldn't get him unsnarled, and I was going to take him to the groomer, but he kept falling down, and I didn't know how a groomer would handle him, and it was just one thing after another with him. So I finally said, okay, Coffee, it's time to go. You're going to go over the Rainbow Bridge. You're too sick. They said you wouldn't make it through the night. And he had the biggest smile on his face when he was euthanized. And I took a picture of it because it was such a big smile. And he loved to smile, but he was really smiling. And I took it, and he was seeing his Pepsi and his Sheppy that he so missed, Shep. And I know that they were there to greet him with open paws. So um, and that was another discouraging time I went through. So he went over the Rainbow Bridge on July 19th, if anyone wants to know. He was my Overland boy that I just loved. And the vet said, don't worry, he's been so sick. He says, I know that you take good care of your dogs. I've had them back here in the back, and they've been fine. And he's been really sick, and that's why he's the way he is with his coat. He said, we get a lot of dogs like that towards the end. I had taken a hairbrush with me to brush him out, one of his slickers. And I'll tell you, I ran my vacuum, and I came out the other day, and there was fur balls from him. There was fur balls in the garage from him too. So he's still around, lurking around the house. And when I leave, I'll say, okay, bye, boys, and coffee included in the spirit world. And so it's just kind of fun. I know that he's around, and I can feel his presence at times. Sometimes I know. It just all depends. But I know that he's up there with Jesus and God and my parents and my brother, and he's being taken good care of, and my grandfather who had collies, and my grandmother who had collies. So I know that they're being tended to. So I'm sure my mom took a brush to coffee up there when he got up there, or the angels. So he probably will look really good when I see him when I get up there to join him, which won't be too far off. So I'm on the last ditch effort for my bladder to get rid of this infection. And so far, the first treatment hasn't done anything. But they'll check another urine to see where I'm at. And it seems to be coming back on a Friday and not a Thursday. So they're waiting for this next one to come back and to see what it shows in the culture. So I just know I'm very weak. And I thought, I got to get this out on discouraging thoughts. But Jesus wants us and God to turn everything over to Him, regardless of how little it is or how big it is. It has to just express right over to God and leave God and Jesus handle it. They're the ones that will take care of everything that is a discouraging thought or issue. And I just feel our country needs to help each other out. And, my friend came over and I was telling her the hardship that I was going through. And, my parents loaned her some money at one point and she paid it back. And there was no reason why I wouldn't pay it back. I just had to get my paycheck in. And she didn't even offer me a 20 to get to my life-saving treatments. And I thought to myself, oh boy, now I don't know about you, but I found these Jesus video clips online on YouTube that have been very interesting, and I've been listening to them as well while I've been off, just trying to see what they say. And the things that God and Jesus want to let us know is they're there for your health, they're there for your finances, they're there for your love interests, relationships, um, anything else that you might need, education. You want to go back to school. This cracks me up. While I was off, I applied for a job. Yes, I did. I applied for a job. I got to that thing that was kind of holding me back, and I took my resume in, and the manager came down. She says, "Oh, Carol, you got a really good resume. I would love to hire you, but you don't have your bachelor's." And I said, "No, I can't afford to go back for my bachelor's. But if I had a job, I might be able to." Well, they had cut off paying for people to go back for their bachelor's, but she just totally didn't get the grip of what I needed. So I'm like, I was grandfathered in 1990, so technically you can still hire me because I was grandfathered in 1990. That went right over her head, so I never did get the job that I was looking to get, which would have been an ideal job for me to do from home in the evening. So there I sit, discouraged again. And it didn't matter that I had done my schooling out in Rochester, Minnesota, and with Rochester Community College, and had gone to school out there and trained out there at St. Mary's and Methodist Hospital, which the Mayo doctors used. So it was just totally not even supporting my resume anymore, which is upsetting. And that's very discouraging. So I've turned it over to God and said, "God, here it is." And I came out of the infusion center, and they had all these schools there trying to recruit people for their bachelor's. Well, that wasn't the issue. The issue is I don't have a grant to go back to school. I don't know that I can qualify for a grant. But I picked up the information and I have it in a bag and I filed it away right now until I get my house cleaned out and I know what box it's in. So I'm still sitting back and trying to get through paper stuff. Got a little bit of a dent done on the table, but not much. And on my brother's side, it's not gotten down very far. It needs to get down further, but we're working on it. So, but that's discouraging. Just to come in and see all this paper clutter is very discouraging for me. Um, I told my dad that I would have it cleaned up, and he knows, and he's watching, and he's discouraged as well from heaven, I'm sure. So, I keep trying. I keep trying. And Max keeps trying. He'll go over and hit the corner of the sofa. And of course, I have blankets on it, and I have a blanket that's waterproof too. So I'm okay there. But um, Max is notorious for being a pistol at times. I love him, but with a big butt. And but yeah, discouraging. I turned it over to God. That he stops and he starts listening because he's barking. And if I go to a small house, he can't bark. Because boy, can you imagine how that would just shake the walls there? Oh my gosh. So here I sit trying to figure everything out. So anyhow, God expects us to turn things over to Him when we're discouraged. And He says, "Peace be thine." Rebuke Satan out of your life if you feel Satan is contributory to it, which a lot of times with discouraging things, Satan is part of the problem. Um, I have to say, the other day I was on my way to the doctor's, and Joe Biden was in for 15 minutes to march with the group at Ford Motor Company. He was there 15 minutes. He delayed me a half hour. I was not a happy camper. So I don't think anybody there at Ford was happy with him that day. Discouraging. But anyhow, that's where I'm at with my thinking process. All the Secret Service went by, everything went by, and so, and I was more interested in getting to my appointment and getting my life-saving treatment because I was so septic. I was a little miffed. It was not broadcast on Fox News that he was coming in or anything. So, um, and that's all I watch. So I didn't know he was even coming. Now my friend, she was at the other end. I was going up the road and she was coming down the road and she was stopped at the other end and she was upset about that too. So we both had a lot of anxiety over trying to get to appointments that we had that day. So that's, anxiety and discouragement. They all fall under the same thing that will cause you chest pains, headaches, tight muscles, and the list goes on and on and on when you have these discouraging thoughts. Now, my phone has been hacked. And in the process of this hacking, I'm going to sit back and see what happens. But an agency that I'm working with wants my phone now. And I'm like going, how am I going to call my brother to come pick me up when I don't have a phone when I'm done with treatments? So I don't know what they're going to do. I tossed it out that maybe they come in and work on it while I'm at infusion tomorrow. If they want my phone to go through and fix it, fine. I'll be all for that because I'm still having problems with my phone. Hackers are still getting into my accounts, which is frustrating. As of tonight, I had someone get into my bank card, another one got into my credit card, and so I closed those two down and reapplied for new credit. So we'll see what happens. Um, Anyhow, that's where we're at. Um, I think that a lot of people have family issues, especially when someone dies. There's always somebody that's holding a grudge or doesn't want to talk to you because they don't believe you, or I have that going on right now with things. And, that's their problem, not my problem. I've turned it over to God and Jesus to handle, so that's where it's at. And I believe in turning things over to God and Jesus. If, I'm so sick, I don't have time to deal with things. And, you would think that they would be more of a support than a hateful source. But my brother would be very disappointed, very disappointed. But that's all I'm going to say. His My brother who passed away's wife is trying to make amends after she gave me a hateful letter, and I forgave her. And forgiveness is a powerful tool as well. So if you find your discouragement is related to family members, you might want to take the bull by the horns, and even though you know you were in the right, still apologize. It might carry some weight. I don't know. I tend to apologize and then I turn the knife a few notches in the gut. So that's my manner, and I've always been like that. So I had to fight coming into this world, and I'll fight going out. And so I get a little annoyed with people doing things, and I'll be first to apologize, but I'll turn the knife a few times into the gut as I apologize and say, this was totally morally and ethically wrong. And it's usually not a bad thing, but it's just, letting them know that I'm not happy with what they did and don't do it again. So that's what I mean by turning the knife a few notches into the gut. So sometimes words can cut like a knife, basically, and that's what I do. I've learned to do that as a nurse all my life and when I've been around medicine, so I don't hold back punches. I deliver them, basically. So, um, I just think that discouraging thoughts, everybody has them from time to time. And the only way to feel better, get rid of those headaches, get rid of the tight muscles, is to take a deep breath and relax and turn it over to Jesus and God, and you'll be a much better person for doing that. I know I have been turning things over all summer to God and Jesus, and now I'm into fall, and they're still getting my laundry list of things to turn over to them. So take one day at a time, do a lot of deep breathing and relaxing. Know that tomorrow will be a better day. Today may be a rough day, but tomorrow will have to be better. Um, I slept most of the day, so I got through a lot of the stuff I was experiencing. And tomorrow will be better. I'll get my culture report back, and maybe they'll start an IV on me at the infusion center on top of my hypomagnesium bolus. So um, that's where we're at. So anyhow, other than that, I think that I've covered what God wanted. I want you to pull up Matthew 6:26 and read that. I know that God and Jesus have been providing comfort over the loss of my dog as well, and the Beatitudes. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. And having some fur dropped on my floor from my dog Coffee lets me know that he's still around, and it's a comforting thought. So I just wanted to let you know that. So anyhow, keep a positive outlook. Very important. God doesn't want negativity. He wants us to be happy. That's one of the things that he talks about. And even if you're in a bad relationship, try to get your husband to go to church with you and to church groups that they have. They have Bible studies. They have, sometimes they have revivals where you can go with your husband on, and like camping and different things like that. And they talk about Christ and how it affects their relationship or doesn't affect their relationship. I mean, it goes both ways. So, but you have to fully accept Christ died on the cross for your sins, and that you understand that God, Son died for us, and that's a very important thought. Now, when I talk about Trinity, I'm going to just kind of capture that. It's God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. That's the Trinity. So, just so you know, um, that puts it out very simple for lay people to understand. Um, Different people in different religions call Jesus something different. Awa is one of them I've heard lately. I don't know, where that's coming from, but I've heard that. Um, so I just wanted to let you know that we have to embrace all religions. We have to accept all religions, and we have to not be critical of their religion. And I can remember being down in Arizona at my friend, and she was from Iran, and she was knelt down on the floor. I thought maybe she had fallen when I came out of the back of the house, and she says, "No, I'm praying to Allah." I said, "Oh, okay." So I let her continue her prayers, and she was knelt down, and she was praying, and over time, I talked to her about her religion and just what it meant. And she was a Baha'i, and they were exiled from Iran. Anybody that was Baha'i was kicked out of the country. And so I got to know her at work, and she wasn't a bad person. She was actually a really, really, really good person. And our careers kind of followed each other, and we helped each other along the way to get where we wanted in our life and our career and everything. And um, my first car accident, I was going to go get her daughter and had her son in the car with me when we were hit by a drunk, and the car spun into almost a window, stopped shy of the window, and our heads hit into each other in the car door molding, and he went by ambulance. I had to stay back because they couldn't find my driver's license, and I wasn't going to go to a hospital without my driver's license because I didn't know if I'd ever get it back. So I stayed there, and I called home, and when I called home, I found out that my cousin had died in a car accident, hit by a drunk illegal immigrant coming across the border. And the family donated her heart because they knew that I had a friend back in Arizona that needed a heart. And of course, he had passed before my cousin had. So that heart went to a guy up in Houston who was a musician. So um, she played piano elegantly, and I was always trying to get a tape of her playing at the Pan Am Games, and it'd be nice to have it sometime to review it and see it and give it to her brother. So, anyhow, that's where I'm at. So, I just wanted to say, turn all your burdens, all your discouraging thoughts, anything that's discouraging going on, turn it over to Christ. You'll be surprised what He does. And let me tell you, sometimes Christ lets us really come into a lot of money, and sometimes not. And when I prayed just enough to get by till my brother got paid. Because I hate to ask people for anything, and I refuse to do that. I have my pride about me, and God knows that. And so this thing from the bank that was down there for a little mini loan was gone for a while, and then it showed back up. So I thought that was interesting. So there was telltale signs that God was working in mysterious ways for me that night, that I needed that money to get back and forth to my life-saving treatments. So people don't realize, if I don't get my mag bolus, I die. That's not a comforting thought. That's really not comforting. Now I have this kidney infection that I can't get rid of. And that's another one that I got another nail in my casket. And physical therapy, that's okay. That's not going to kill me. I just have to keep working at it. So, but it's coming. My foot is starting to unfreeze from being frozen in the non-weight bearing boot. So it's getting there, but it's not quite there 100%. But it's getting better each time I go. And of course, I canceled today because I was physically exhausted. And I think they knew that I was going to probably end up canceling, but it is what it is. So discouraging thoughts, turn over to God. Very important. Okay. Hope everybody has a good, blessed evening and enjoy the rest of your week, tomorrow, tonight, and over the weekend. Okay, have a good one.